When my mom was going door to door supporting, trying to get me to places, like fundraising to get me to contests as a kid, Dennis was always a huge supporter of me, and he never like not let me go. He'd always drop big money to help me and my brother travel, so this guy's a solid.
Macy was a little punk along with a lot of the other like Centeo and Kuzan, but really good kid. Family was very inspirational and great family. His mom, dad, his brother, all of them all supported Macy's quest.
This is my home break. This is Barbers Point, White Plains Beach, Eva Beach, Hawaii. You know, being around is kind of the hardest. Being present, like you were saying, is the hardest part. And I just felt really insecure about myself. A lot of insecurities. I mean, it's hard for me to say that, but yeah, I used to be really insecure. There was a lot of wild stuff back in the days, like would get beat up, people would fight at contests, you know, like now I feel like it's just kind of like watered down. Everybody says the same things about everybody. The action is good, the guys are good. These big brands don't back these athletes of this caliber, you know. The lineup was just too intense for me. I never felt comfortable in that lineup. I wasn't the limelight, but I've lived the limelight life, and I'm very blessed and grateful.
Mr. Macy Mullen himself.
How's it going, Steve?
Absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me into your home.
Thank you for coming into my home. Traveling all that way to be here and making time to chat with me. That's huge in itself. So
Yeah, only a pleasure. And this is a family home, as you can hear in the background. We've got the beautiful children of said Macy Mullen, and it's just a family environment, and you can't beat it. You can feel the love when you walk through the door.
thank you.
You can feel the energy.
There's quite a bit of energy in this household.
The good energy.
Yes.
I can feel it, and it's great. Let's rewind.
Okay.
Let's go back and let's talk about Macy as a young man.
Macy as a young man. Wow. Okay. I come from a military background family. My father was in the Navy. So my roots were kind of like all over the world growing up. I think we moved here back to my dad's home where he's from. He's originally from Eva Beach. And we moved back here, I want to say 86, 87. And was raised your typical little island kid, and fortunate enough that my dad wanted us to try surfing. You know, he used to do it as a kid. He would shape his own boards, you know. He would basically, his house was a bike ride away from the beach. And yeah, he did it recreationally for fun and whatnot. And I'm just glad that he introduced it to us, and that's where I think my life kind of like took its turn for the best.
Where are we exactly?
So we are in the central part of the island. This is Mililani, Hawaii, or Mililani, Oahu. We are pretty much 30 minutes from the South Shore, 35 from the west side, about 25 from the north, and about 45 from the east. We're pretty smack dab in the middle. We're in the mountains, kind of, and I love it up here. It's peaceful. It's quiet. Not many people come up this way, so I like to live a little bit of a recluse lifestyle. I mean, even though I'm pretty social and I go out, when that's all done, I like to just come where it's nice and quiet. And it's also a lot cooler up here, temperature-wise, throughout the year. So I like to just hibernate up here.
So growing up here as a kid, surfing, skateboarding, I dare say you got into skateboarding before surfing, right?
Correct, correct. So before moving to Hawaii, my dad introduced us to skateboarding. We lived in California right prior to moving to Hawaii, and we'd go to like SeaWorld and watch the skateboard shows, and they had like all the like demos over there. So skateboarding back then was a little bit better just because we weren't really exposed to the cold water elements. Like we didn't have to go trucking through the 60-degree water. We weren't ready at that age. I mean, I wasn't. I would catch like one wave in California and I'd be like, I hate this. Come in all purple and blue and shaking, and my dad's like, you're a wuss. A Navy man, those guys go swimming in the cold up there, no problem. So I wasn't really into it. And then when we moved back to Hawaii, the waters were so warm. It's tropical and it's inviting. It's like, how can you not go into the waters here? So it took a little bit of an attitude change. My dad would just be like, hey, if you're not going to go surf, then you got to sit at home and wait for us to come home, and then you can go skateboarding. And then I was like, I'm just going to go surf then. I don't want to sit at home and do nothing.
Yeah, sure.
So started picking up the board, and that's what led to surfing.
So you grew up, your father was a military man?
Yep.
So did you have quite a strict upbringing?
Yes. I've had a very strict upbringing. Anybody that's kind of had a military family, I mean, back in the day, it's a lot different than it is now. So there was rules that had to be followed, and if you didn't follow the rules, you get punished. Sometimes it would be, physical. Sometimes it would be verbal. It's just part of it, But it's kind of made me who I am today, and I have my respects and whatnot, and through all that has taught me my manners and whatnot as well. So I like to think it's kind of it molded me into the man I am today.
Growing up as a kid, did you have anything that you found challenging growing up?
Um,
Or was your childhood smooth sailing?
no, I mean, there's always when you're looking at life, I guess you always can see things that you want when you see other people. Yep. When you're a little kid, you're like, oh, I never got this, I never got that. I actually got a lot. I was spoiled. I mean, back then you'd ask me, I'd be like, no, I didn't get this, or I didn't get that. I got a lot. My parents worked really hard to provide for me, to send me on like my surf trips, to help get my boards. Yes, honey. Okay, you guys go play. It's okay. You go up there too. I'm sorry about that, but
No worries.
yeah, they worked really hard to provide the stuff for me to pursue my dreams when I didn't have the support from companies, when I didn't have the support from sponsors, or just they've always kind of like supported me, but it was a rough support, if that makes sense. Like, you got to get a job, but just you're doing good. Just keep doing it, kind of thing.
So at what age did you decide that you wanted to essentially dedicate your life to becoming a pro surfer? Like, how old were you?
I honestly, when I think I was like 13, 14, and you see these guys that would just travel the world and go on these trips and surf contests and like live this luxurious lifestyle. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to pursue that. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, you know. Surfing back then wasn't uh, it wasn't like as like clean cut as it is today.
Elaborate.
Like there was a lot of wild stuff back in the days. Like, you know, people would get beat up, people would fight at contests, you know, like people weren't always saying, "Oh, I really respect this guy." It was like they're, you know, back when think about when Andy and Kelly were going at it, and even prior to that, like people were getting people would get nuts, and you know, now I feel like it's just kind of like watered down in a way. Like everybody says the same things about everybody, and I mean, the action is good, the guys are good, but again, like there's no support for the guys that are doing it, that are, you know, I feel a lot of these these big brands don't back these athletes of this caliber, you know. But
That's now, but when you were growing up, there was a lot more, as you say, edginess.
it wasn't for the money back then. It was just
for the surfing.
for the surfing, for the style, or just to have that reputation, even, you know, like, oh, you're gnarly, or you're that guy, or, you know, like it was more like cutting edge. Like if you're not down, then you're either gonna get run over or just like beat up along, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna get out of the way.
Yeah.
But like nowadays, I feel like it's just kind of like, how do you say, like everything's just so like
Cookie cutter.
yes.
Yeah, and I suppose that a lot of the, without going into the future too quickly, because we'll get there, but as you said, back in the day, it was a lot more dog eat dog.
Yes.
And in a weird kind of way, when you're in that situation, it's not cool. It's not cool,
Yes.
but it's actually preparing you
Yes.
for life.
Yes, and then it totally, I mean, it sets you up for, okay, like life isn't always going to be sunshine and gravy. I mean, I'm not going to lie, my career wasn't paved the whole way. You know, I've been dropped. I've been, you know, I've rode for numerous companies. I've been there. I've done that, and I've seen a lot along the way, to where it's like I was saying the other day, like how I mentioned Vast, like this, it's changed my life. It's a family. It's not just I'm a person collecting a paycheck from them. They listen to me. I'll speak my mind, and we can converse, yay or nay kind of thing. And it's like a relationship, basically, a really good relationship, versus, oh, you've reached your deadline, okay, you're end of okay, cut. You're not hot anymore. You've had a bad year, okay. It's not. It's never been like that with them, you know, and that is where I think like a lot of the coreness comes, you know, like a lot of brands lost that coreness.
Yeah.
You know, and that's again what's happening with this new coming of age. There's none of that core values. I mean, maybe even in society, you see a lot less of the traditions, core values, and stuff like that, you know.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we live in a society of instant gratification.
Yes.
And that we want to get from point A to point B quickly.
Correct.
Rapidly.
Correct.
And we've got the tools to do that.
Yes.
And we believe we've got the tools. We know we've got the tools because they're there. And unfortunately, what you say is correct. It creates a... I love the singing. It creates a society of like entitlement, you know, people who are entitled or feel entitled.
Yeah, I mean, a good example, you look at like places like Pipeline nowadays. Back in the day, you know, even in my day when Bruce and Andy and all those guys, not to say that I'm a crazy Pipeline guy, but back in the day you could kind of get waves and feel safer in the lineup, just one being a local Hawaiian, and two, like, you know, you earned your way through. Now when you're in the lineup out there, there's so many new faces that they don't even care who's already put their time in. They're just there to be aggressive and be like, I'm the pipe guy, I'm the next nuts guy, look at me, look at me. You know, whereas before, like, you wouldn't paddle on a guy like Cole Rothman or drop in on a guy like Derek Ho or Andy or Bruce or, even Kyborg or Chava or any of those guys, because you knew if you did Kala, you'd get wrecked. And nowadays, because of like we were saying, society, people, cameras and everything, Instagram, there's no more of that regulation, because the regulators are getting in trouble for regulating and keeping it safe. And people they don't understand that, that there needs to be that kind of regulation in the lineup sometimes. Because if not, it becomes like a free-for-all, and that's when people really do get hurt, So back in the day, like, yeah, you kind of had to earn your stripes to make it through to the next phase of, you know what I mean, to get your waves out there.
You're goofy, right?
I am goofy.
So pop is right up your alley.
It was like, I want to say I wanted it to be, and I love trying to get barreled, but the lineup was just too intense for me. I never felt comfortable in that lineup.
Even when you were younger?
Even when I was younger. I mean, I'd get a wave here and there. I never felt like I was the guy out there, and I never felt like I could be the guy, just because the wave was that gnarly, and you had to be on that kind of brink of insanity the way that these guys were taking off, and like Bruce, like I was saying, Bruce and Annie, those guys were all under the lip, like, and then the era before that, they rode bigger boards and they sat outside and they'd coast in, so a lot of things change through the years and whatnot. So I mean, now everybody just kind of like, it's like a free-for-all out there. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this past winter, any given day when it's good, there's like 100, 120, 30 guys out there.
Yeah, no, it's next level. So what was it like as a teenager? When did you start like thinking, I'm getting somewhere, I'm getting some results? Were you like 16, 17?
I want to say about like 15, 16, I started like consistently making finals. I'd get results here and there. Again, we had a heavy crop of guys like coming up, like Fred Pataccia, we had Jason Tribata, we had Tori Barron, Kala Jones, Bruce and Andy Irons, Roy Powers. We've had like a lot of really, really talented surfers in our generation. So coming up was pretty nuts, and it just, I feel like everybody made everybody that much better. We all tried to be that guy, and you get a couple results, you start believing you're that guy, or, and I started to get a little bit of play, at the time I rode for Quicksilver. I was starting to get ads and starting to see some of that limelight, and that's when I was like, okay, this is it. This is my entry. Like, this is where it's going. And then, yeah, that just took me where I just rode it as far as I could.
Amazing. So what was it like? Was it good being with Quicksilver?
Yeah, I mean, as a Grom, you're when you're winning and you're doing good and you're getting spoiled, you get shown that limelight life, trips and gear and a little bit of money, and you're just like, wow. And you're under, 16, 15, 17, like, wow, I'm making money. I am I'm going to do this. Yeah. And but yeah, when you reach a point, like I said, they put you up in a room, I guess, middle America, what sells, what doesn't sell, and if you're not the hot commodity, it just there you go, like you're
become
out.
Another number.
Yeah, and you're not that cool kid anymore, and it kind of sends you in to like a whirlwind when you have to go through that, especially at a young age. I don't think you get prepared for something like that. You know, when you get a lot of shine, and then all of a sudden that shine doesn't come through anymore. You kind of like, you go through like a lot of hills and valleys. You know, I mean peaks and valleys, and you start questioning yourself. You know, you go. It's a hard process to go through when you get all this stuff, and then all of a sudden it just stops.
So did you struggle?
I did. I mean, like I said, in my career, I didn't have the luxurious benefits of like the big dollar contracts and whatnot, but I did get to travel. I did get to see the world. I did get to surf, and I'm still surfing. So I can't really complain, you know. I wasn't, how do you say it? I wasn't the head, I wasn't the limelight, but I've lived the limelight life, and I'm very blessed and grateful. And I mean, I wouldn't have traded it for anything. And like I said, it's made me who I am, and it's given me my experiences in life, and you know, I'm so blessed.
Mature attitude. Who were your influences, mentors, people that sort of helped guide you and navigate those teen years?
Wow. There is like some people. First of all, was like my coach for Quicksilver at the time. His name's Donald Pahea. Even after I left Quicksilver, he was still there for me mentally. Like, he would still like talk to me and tell me, like, you know, it, don't let that make or break you, kind of thing. Like, don't let that define you. And you know, if you really love it, then show that you love it, and it won't matter if you need a sponsor or not, kind of thing. And just to follow your dream, kind of thing. You know, whether or not people believe or not, just believe in yourself. So like guys like him.
Any surfers that you kind of aspired to, want to be like?
I've always wanted to be like, you know, like a Rob or Kelly, and those are the guys like, you know, Andy I really looked up to. He was always really good to me. He never like, he never punked me or like gave me that punky attitude. You know, he always made time to talk and say what's up to me. Who else? Scott Shimoda. He's like my big brother. He was always there for me, and he always protected me. And like, literally, he was the big brother I never had. So I owe a lot to him. Jeremy Nita. He's, like I said, he's like my younger brother, just by age, but the knowledge and guidance he's given me throughout the years, being my jiu-jitsu coach and mentor, he's really taught me about humbleness and, like, you know, just being gracious and grateful, and just enjoying the journey. You know, learning to enjoy the journey from you know, basics to where I am. You know, everybody at Information, Todd Shimabukuro, Ryan Arakaki, Junjo, and Keith. I forgot his last name, but the 4 guys over there at Information, I really owe those guys a lot, because those guys have actually been behind me since they started, since I want to say like 16. That's the 4 guys I've been with. They've pushed me when I felt like quitting. Todd, if you're watching this, thank you. Thanks for those talks and listening to me cry on your shoulder. Appreciate you, dude. Yeah, like those kind of people.
What were you crying on his shoulder about?
Just feeling down, you know, when you, like I was saying, when you lose sponsors, or you feel inadequate, or you feel like you're not progressing maybe in life, or where you want to progress, and you start beating yourself up, and then just that person believing in you and saying like, hey, you got this, keep going, like, don't stop.
Yeah, those people are as I mentioned earlier, they are pillars of support, right? And people who help round us into, you know, we're both in our 40s now, so we
Yes.
kind of like, it's easier to sit here now, but at the time, you know, you were probably a shattered young man because you'd lost a sponsor and where to next.
Yes.
And so to have these older men and sometimes women in our lives that, you know, just help steer that ship through those moments, you know, we've got to validate them and say thank you.
Yes. Oh, and I can't thank my wife, Karina, for everything. She's honestly the reason why I get to do what I get to do. If it wasn't for her, I'd be that lost ship in the sea. Like she's my rock. So thank you, Karina. Thank you. Love you.
That's beautiful, man. So this is quite a special moment. I'm just going to slot this in here, even though we're halfway through the conversation. But it's quite a special moment because this is the inaugural, the very first podcast in probably, well, not probably, who has been, you are the oldest, you're the first athlete to come on board with VAST. Am I correct in understanding that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was there.
So Macy is proper old school, proper OG with VAST.
Yeah.
And we're telling these stories because we feel that it's the people that make a product, not the product that define the people.
100%.
And with VAST and with the team, Sam, Jun, and so many others that form a part of this amazing lifestyle brand, it's important that we document not only Macy's stories, but all the other ambassadors' stories and a little look behind the scenes at their life.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about surfing.
Surfing is like the one thread that strings us together. We all live, and that was the thing that really like got me pumped and psyched about VAST was when we started this. It wasn't just surfing. It wasn't just like, oh, this is a surf brand. This is surfing. It wasn't that. It was a lifestyle. It's all about lifestyle. I mean, yeah, we do cater to surfing, and surfing is a big, major part of it. But we're all unique individuals, and we're all unique and bring different things to the table. Whether, you know, maybe for me, like it's who I am and how I can interact with people. Some people are really good musicians. Some people are great parents that surf really well. And you know, some people are barbers, artists, whatever it is. And that's where VAST is really about. Yes, honey. Okay, you guys go in the room, play, okay? Thank you. VAST is it's a wide variety of talented individuals, and it's a network, and it's a brotherhood and sisterhood of people that just love to go surfing, but also have other talents to shine, you know? And that's where I love the thing about VAST, and that's where I'm honored to be here and to have helped mold what VAST has become, you know, and be a part of this. This is like I never have experienced before, and that's where I told you again, like, you know, it's something that I've been able to be a part of and help create, you know, like give my word, or they listen to me, or like if I have something, they take my feedback into consideration versus just reading a paper and like, yeah, you know, it is a family based kind of like organization, you know, from the ground up, and Sam and June and everybody behind the scenes over there are really, really dedicated to this. So I'm a firm believer in these guys.
Yeah, I think you've summed up the ethos quite beautifully there. Nothing feels forced. It's almost like it's meant to happen. and it happens naturally.
Yes.
And those that enable it or are conduits to making it, whatever it is, happen, do so in a way where there's a lot of thought and care and understanding that's gone and been put in behind the scenes in order to just help the journey along.
I feel like it's like a child, like raising a child. Honestly, like it's not just one person. It's like a team of us. It's everybody. It's from the riders to the people that work in the warehouse to yourself, myself, Sam, the owner, you know, Carrie, who runs the Taiwan side. It's all a big, you know, in Hawaiian Ohana unit, like, and we all converse to where we just want the main how do you say it?
The core of
The core of it to just spread. And it's cool because like you were saying, like we're not trying to force it, it just comes. And if you want to be a part of it, like we're open to it. And if you're not, then hey, maybe it's not meant for you, then cool. But maybe you might like it later. And it's like it's so funny because when we started, I remember me and Scott, when we were the first two guys running down the beach and the stuff with logos on our boards, people would look at us like, what's this fast? Like, it's not going to last. Like, see you guys. And now look at it, like, you know, it's been over 10 years and we're running strong. We're building, we're growing, you know, and it's really cool to see it and how far it's come along and the people that are a part of it and interact with it. It's legitimately a core-based brand.
Which brings me onto your love for jiu-jitsu and what it means to you. Last night we got to experience, I got to see it firsthand. I didn't get to experience it, thankfully, because I think I'd still be laying in bed today. But I got to see Macy in his, what is it a practice? What is it called?
Just a
dojo? No.
Yeah, just a normal class. We just call it a class.
But what do you call the place? Is it like a dojo? Is
Gym, dojo.
Dojo.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. I got to see Macy in his dojo last night. Jiu-jitsu, how has it helped shape the man that you've become today?
Oh, it's totally changed me. I feel like 1,000%.
My name is Summer. Macy Mullen. He's obsessed with surfing and jiu-jitsu. Really good guy, family man. All his kids do jiu-jitsu, and he has an amazing wife. That's what I will say.
We're at Trickster Studio. This is like my second home, or third, I guess. If the beach is my second or my first, then this is my second or third. We do a bit of jiu-jitsu. There's striking classes that go on. There's kids, there's teams. This is a bunch of people hugging each other.
You know, Macy's been one of those guys that every time we go through stuff, he's always more open to learning, but he really puts himself in a sense of at that pedestal for himself that, you know, he's failing, but we always see it as, well, that's the only way you're gonna get better, right?
Yeah.
So for Macy, it's a struggle, but he's always growing each time, and that's why you see him as a brown belt now. You know, he's getting close to his black belt and whatnot. But for us, we enjoy Macy because of how dedicated he is. You know what I mean?
How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu?
Oh, I want to say about like 8, almost 9 years now.
Okay.
I got heavy back into it. My buddy introduced me to my good friend here, Jeremy Nita, that actually runs and owns the school. And he's just showed me the way and taught me the Jedi Force. And it's really changed my life as who I am and how I approach people and how I just view things. It's humbled me as a person, being, kind of judgmental, and this place has totally washed it away from me, I feel like, and it keeps me grounded, and like it just makes me respect people in a whole nother way. I was just really recluse, really recluse. Like, I felt like I would always get bullied, or just wouldn't want to like stand my ground. Just, I thought I would always have to be loud to like make people not want to like mess with me or whatever. And I just felt really insecure about myself. A lot of insecurities, like, and I mean, it's hard for me to say that, but yeah, I used to be really insecure. Oh, what people thought, or this or that, and it was really hard for me. But through the years with jiu-jitsu, it's taught me, like, again, like humbleness. It's taught me to lose my ego. It's taught me to just accept things for what it is and what it isn't, and just to never give up, honestly. You get beat up day in and day out, and you kind of like learn that thick skin, and you slowly learn to move better, and learn techniques, and grow. And along that journey, you meet people that you would never think were such, how do you say, like, killers, badasses, that like just people on the street that you would just be like, oh, this guy's a no. And then you realize, like, this guy is an absolute murderer. Like, whether it be a little guy or a huge guy, like, you just can't judge people. It just taught me not to judge, and just to like accept everybody for who they are, and not be so closed off.
But you see, that's where a lot of people are probably have a misconception about jiu-jitsu to a large degree, because one sees it as a martial art.
Mm-hmm.
One sees the physical, the violence, that comes with it. But it's way more than that. And it is very much about psychological, emotional, spiritual enlightenment as much as it is physical.
Oh, 1000%. Like, it just cleanses you. I mean, like, it's like surfing. When you surf and or if you're having a rough day, you go surf, when you're done, you cleanse. No problems, no worries. Like, you're good for the next few hours. But just the only bad thing is when the sun goes down, you can't surf. So jiu-jitsu, like, it's the same thing. You're frustrated. You get on those mats. You get beat up, or you're getting beat up, and you're not making any progress. And then you might do a little different change, or or you might change an angle, or change the way you think, and that might change the complete direction of the roll, where you might start dominating or going to a dominant position and leading. And it's just, it teaches you about little wins, taking the little wins to eventually get to the big win. Like, you might get a better position, pass the guard, side control. You isolate the guy. Once you isolate the guy, you move to the attack. And once you get to the attack, you secure the position, and then you can submit the guy. Just like, in your everyday problems, if you're having a tough one, just take it step by step, bring it back, and it's taught me all these little life lessons. And like I was saying, my coach is 10 years younger than me, and he's teaching me these things. And it's, again, like, I'm supposed to be knowing this, being in the 40s, right, an adult, and he's teaching me stuff that I had like no self-control over, and it's taught me how to treat myself better. It's taught me how to take care of myself. I don't drink anymore. I don't party, because I'd rather get my training in, and like I said, I feel more secure if anything was to ever happen, or if anything was to ever happen with my children, or somebody was to attack them or do something. I feel like I could stand my ground, and I don't care how big, or you know, in the gym, you've seen some of the guys. There's some pretty big guys, and I really don't. If something was to happen to a friend or a family, I don't care. I will go at you like a spider monkey. And before I would be hesitant, whereas now I'm like, you know,
I got some moves.
I won't shy away as like,
These are his moves. Look at them. He's
Nah.
absolutely crazy.
no.
Look at this. This is what he's doing. Taking on guys bigger than him. Yeah, and like you say, it gives you that. It gives you that balance. I think that sometimes we're like, especially as emotional. I don't know about you, but I'm quite an emotional person, and so
I am. I mean,
like it can work both ways. It can be a really good thing to be an emotional person and be empathetic and understand people's feelings. But then the flip side is that when that emotion turns into a response, a negative response, we're like a bull in a china shop, and
yes.
to be able to rein that in and understand when to and how to, like a coping mechanism, and how to channel that energy. I think therein lies the kicker.
Yes, a lot of it. I mean, and that's the thing with jiu-jitsu too. It teaches you the control. Teaches you not to spaz out or tense up or it teaches you just to like be comfortable in uncomfortable positions. You know, and once you can learn to be uncomfortable, you can start to think your way out of things. You know, it's not over yet. I mean, a lot of time. I mean, I've been through some crazy stuff in my life. You know, been through some tough times, and I'm not gonna lie.
Can you give me an instance? Can you get a bit vulnerable?
I mean, I've had my 2 older kids taken from me, from my ex. You know, I wouldn't be able to see them for months on end. Just stuff like that, like, you know, divorce prior with that, and again, just a lot of mental trauma stuff from that. It's hard to stay poised or stay like calm when your world's being like shaken. And I mean, like, again, like through jiu-jitsu, it's taught me, even to this day, like when things start getting really rough, like, hey, like, slow down, take it step by step. You know, like I was just explaining, think of it as passing the legs, get a good control, you know, and just take it step by step to where, okay, I'm back in control again in my life. You know, whether it be a parenting issue or a surfing issue where I'm not doing what I want to do, or just, you know, being a husband even. You know, it circulates to every part of my life, you know, and it's teaching me how to address everything in my life through that. So that's why I feel like I've attached myself with jiu-jitsu so much. And not only that, the body movements when you're turning or twisting, you know, your hips, your core, it's very, very similar to surfing. So I think that's another reason why I got really into it.
Brown belt. So don't look for trouble with this dude. He's a brown belt, and on your way to black, eh? 'Cause that's the next stop.
Yeah. Yes. I hopefully, you know, it'll happen when it happens, and if it's meant to be a part of my journey, then it is, you know. But I'm not planning on stopping training or stopping my journey unless I die. So, yeah. So that's just another pit stop along the way.
It's been a good journey for you, I think. I can see, or I can hear, you know, how your love for jiu-jitsu has, like, enabled you to, as you've said, become a more rounded person and be able to cope in
Yes.
situations that perhaps if you hadn't have started the practice of jiu-jitsu, you may not have been equipped with those skills.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, not only like defense skills, but just life skills in general, like that have, I feel like, matured me into being a better parent, even, you know, like how to be calm with my kids when things aren't always going. You know, I have a you know, my oldest is 14, and it's scary. You know, she likes to go out with her friends, and in the world today with all the stuff, I get really, you know, nervous, and you know, she's at that age where boys are starting to come into the picture. So it's good to know that, you know, if anything ever hits the fan, like you know, I can take care of her.
It's good for them to know that her dad's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, let the boys be a little bit of, you know, let them get a little scared. You hear that, gentlemen? Don't touch my daughter.
Have you got, she carries a little card around with the dad's jiu-jitsu membership number.
Oh, no. She should, though, maybe.
It's a great idea.
That is. Making a necklace.
You can get it laminated. Yes, a necklace or a tattoo even. It's the funniest thing that's ever happened in your life.
I don't know if I can talk about that on camera.
Why? Is it
You know what? Ask Scott Shimoda. That guy is pretty much any time I've traveled or I've been around that guy, we've had complete comedy moments. I'll give you one example. We were doing it was me and him, and we were doing like kind of like a vast trip, and we were doing like a shop tour in California, and we were it's like, I want to say like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock, and we had a little 420 meeting, and we went to go get some In-N-Out burger. We're arguing, trying to get into like, oh, go this way, this is drive-through. No, this isn't the drive-through, and there's a new area we didn't know. And we had to rent a car, and so we're sitting there like driving into the parking lot, just yelling at each other, like almost like ready to like fight each other. Like, but we're not, like, but that's how we interact. And then I'm driving, not paying attention. I hit the you know how like in between they have those like medians, yeah, I guess, but thing was pretty high. And we launched the minivan onto the median. Like, I don't know how we got it down, but if we didn't have that momentum, we basically rail slid the median, and we took out a piece of the concrete with the minivan.
He rail slid a minivan.
Yeah, and like if we didn't have the momentum, the minivan would have been like this on the median. Like,
kind of lived the dream as a teenager, wanting to become a pro surfer. Worked hard, had ups, had downs, had mentors there to have your back, get you through, understand. Probably still quite rudderless, but then jiu-jitsu came into your life.
Yep.
And the people around you, again, the people. We keep saying this, but it's the people.
It is.
The people around us that help shape who we are.
It is the people around us. I mean, the people around me 100% inspire me and motivate me to want to do more, to want to give more, and just be more. Be a better person, be a better father, be a husband, son, friend, you know, whatever it is. I want to share the stoke. That's all. Like, I've been fortunate enough to live a very, like you said, a very blessed and privileged life, you know, and if it ended tomorrow, I couldn't be more blessed and grateful for the opportunities and the people I've come across. You know, the peaks and valleys, that's part of the journey. It's not all sunshine. But mine saw a lot of sunshine, and I'm very grateful for that. And the people that have helped provide that for me to grow into who I am, and the shoes that I've filled, and you know, given me my direction. I owe them a lot, because without them, I wouldn't be here. You know, people like Sam, June, you know, the people from my gym, Jeremy, my coaches, to my family, my wife, my kids. They still believe in me, and they don't tell me to ever like, hey, Dad, you need to stop, or you need to be you need to go get a job, dad. They believe in what we're doing, and they believe in vast, you know, they've seen it firsthand, and to be able to share this experience with them has been the greatest for me. Like, I've always wanted them to see this, like, see that, like, hey, like, I did it, or I'm doing it, or, you know, to show my family, like, hey, I'm not just the surf bum, or, you know what I mean? Like, I actually, there's more to it. So
You've hit the nail on the head there. You've hit the nail on the head because, and you know, it may sound cliche to some people or may come across as cliche, but you know what? The world needs this. The world needs people who see the good in other people, who realize that as humans, we're full of rubbish, but we're not interested in the rubbish. We're interested in the good stuff. And like a gold prospector, digging through mounds and mounds and mounds and mounds of dirt, he's not interested in the dirt.
yeah.
He's just interested in that little nugget of gold.
100. Yes, honey. Hello. Tell Chloe I said stop. Thank you. Sorry.
You know, he's not interested in that dirt. He'll go through a mountain of dirt if he has to find a gold nugget or a bar. And that's, as humans, essentially what we need to do. We need to look past the rubbish and try and find that nugget of gold and then build on that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a past. Everybody makes mistakes. You know, it's what you're doing in the moment to better it. I mean, if you're still just sitting there doing the same crap, not trying to better it, then, I mean, that's on you. But if you can get that hope and that little bit of hope, well, but hey, maybe I can, you know, it gets that little maybe, and if that maybe becomes like, hey, I did it, oh, okay, and then it'll spread to somebody else, you know, just even a smile at somebody, like, hey, how's your day going? Those little gestures, people need that, you know. The world today makes you feel like you're nothing, and if you don't have a certain thing or a possession or you're not at the right spot, it makes you feel like you're missing out, when right where you're at is right where you're supposed to be, and it's the spot. And if you can just see that, like, everything's right, you know, like, we're all guilty of looking at our phones and be like, oh, I wish I was here. This guy's living this interesting life, or I want to live what this guy's doing. When if we just sometimes stop to put that down and look what we're doing, and we're in an interesting spot as ourselves. I mean, whether it be at a gym, outside the doors, you know, sunny skies, beautiful day, traveling, whatever, you know, we just gotta be present, I think.
Be present. Well, Macy Mullen, I'm Steve Shooter. This is Macy Mullen. This has been your very first episode. Thank you for your time.
Thank you guys.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
I hope it's been interesting, and I hope to see you guys in the water, and don't be shy. Come say what's up. Let's talk. Let's cruise. Surf.
Let's share the stoke.
Yeah. Let's get some waves. And remember, nature always wins.
Always.
Right on. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, brother. That was awesome.
Thank you. Is it okay?
Yeah, we good. We good. I think we're good. One last nugget. What was that saying that you said? What was that
Which one?
at the gym? What? Be the what?
Be the someone for somebody, even though you're a nobody, because you could still be that somebody for that someone.
There we go. We'll end on that.